Coming all the way from New York City. Yeah! So put your hands together for Adam Mamawala.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. It's great to be here. I gotta say, I genuinely appreciate doing shows like this because I do terrible shows regularly. This is not one of them. I recently passed the 1-year anniversary of the worst show I've ever done. It was last year in my hometown in New Jersey. I was on a show where I was sandwiched in between 2 heavy metal bands. Did not go well. And after the show, a kid I had not seen since high school walked up to me and said, and I quote, "I can't believe I ironed a polo for this." So, this feels great. I have, I've learned something about my face recently. It turns out I am very in-between looking racially, so your perception of me is going to be very much based on your own level of fear and paranoia. Like, I'm a comic in New York, which means I do multiple shows every single night. I'll do 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. And I've noticed I have this habit recently where whenever I'm on the subway in between shows, I want to be preparing myself for the next place I'm going to. So what I do is I take out my cell phone, I set the stopwatch to like 5 minutes. I'm kind of running through my material in my head, which is fine for me because I know what I'm doing. But to everyone else in that subway car, I'm just an ethnically ambiguous, unshaven man who is mumbling things to himself and laughing while he watches a stopwatch go from 5 minutes down to 0. Scaring a lot of tourists. If you are curious, my dad is from India, and my mom is a tiny white lady from Wisconsin. So, as far as my college applications were concerned, I was an American Indian. We've come a long way with race relations in this country. Like, I was in Washington, D.C. a couple months ago, and I had a chance to go to the Martin Luther King Memorial. And as I'm walking up to it, I noticed this middle school group on a field trip there. And in the distance, I see this black kid and this white kid, and they're just hanging out with each other. And it was this very profound moment where I'm walking up to the memorial that honors the man who envisioned this future, and it's actually happening in front of me. But as I get closer to them, I'm overhearing their conversation, and they're being incredibly disrespectful. They're not paying attention to the memorial at all. They're cursing at each other. At one point, they're actually climbing onto the statue. But that, to me, was even more powerful because I realized in that moment that I hated both of those kids the exact same amount based solely on the content of their character. Had nothing to do with black or white. They were just equally terrible children. I have some exciting news, folks. I am actually getting married in September. That is something that's going on. Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. My fiance's name is Allie, but she spells it A-L-I, so on paper it looks like I might be in a same-sex relationship with a Muslim man. She's agreed to take my last name, too, which I think if your name is Ali Mamawala, you're legally an Uber driver. That's her life. But I appreciate her tremendously because I've been in terrible relationships before. Like, I was dating a girl one time who got into this very intense diet, which I was fine with, until she started incorporating all these cheat days where she would still eat really healthy but sleep with other guys. I feel like there's always so much talk about double standards between men and women, and as a guy, I'm willing to acknowledge that it's usually easier to be a male. There's certain things that women can do that men can never pull off in a million years. Like a couple years ago, Bud Light aired a Super Bowl commercial that many of you probably saw. It was called Ian Up for Whatever. It was this hidden camera thing where this girl walks up to a guy by himself at a bar. She's holding a Bud Light. She goes, "Hey, if I give this to you, are you up for whatever happens next?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure," and then proceeds to have the best night he's ever had. But if a man walks up to a woman by herself at a bar with an open Bud Light bottle and asks her to drink it and find out what happens next, that is not a Bud Light commercial. That's a public service announcement. Hey guys, I'm Adam Mamawala. Have a good night. Thank you.
Keep it going for Adam Mamawala, everybody. Keep it going for him.